guys, welcome back to my channel. What we're going to do now is replace this radiator. Now, to kind of go over, I don't really want over everything that's been done in this car, I don't think. So kind of just to go over what's been done in this cooling system. This has a 2-row Ford Motorsport radiator, and it's one they made back in the day. They sold in the Ford Motorsport catalog. Plastic side tanks, you know, the typical like 1990, early 90s kind of stuff. I think it does better than stock, but I don't think that it really performs as good as what I need in here, I should say. So I've been researching it a bunch. I bought a first off, let's back up. So you got a couple options, all right? There's tons of aluminum radiators out there. You can get a single core, 2 core, 3 core, there's 4 core, and then the tube sizes from, you know, all depending on how many rows of tubes you get. It changes the size of that tube, okay, that runs through there. If you're going to get something that's like a 2-row or a 3-row, it's probably going to be somewhere in the area of a 1-inch tube, like for your better stuff. Some of it even gets as big as like 1 1/4 inch tube. And you'll see a lot of debate on that, on which way is the better way to go. It seems like just from the stuff I researched that a lot of guys prefer to go to a larger, less tubes and a larger one. So like a 2 or a 3-row with like 1 inch or 1 1/4 inch tube seems to be like the really popular thing. So what I did, now my car doesn't really run, it doesn't run ridiculously hot. I mean, it gets warmer than I'd like. Like here in Tampa where I live, like last week it got up to 90 degrees, and in stop and go traffic my car would get up to like 205, which isn't really that bad. I mean, considering at night, if I drive it at night when the temperature gets down into the lower 70s, my car never gets over like 180, 178, 185, is right in where it'll stay. On freeway driving, it'll get a little bit warmer in stop and go, but not a whole lot warmer. So it's got, right now it's just got regular Fox radiator hoses on it, and it's got a 160 degree high flow thermostat, and it has, the water pump is a flow cooler. It's like an HD pump, but it has a billet impeller in it, and they put out more pressure and stuff. So that's kind of, when I put that in and I left the radiator a little low, I could tell like a night and day difference. That water pump did help it out a bunch. I had a CarQuest HD water pump in it before, and it didn't do near what this pump does. It lowered my temperature a good 15 degrees at idle, sitting here in the garage. And I thought that I had it whipped and that's all I was ever going to need to do, but I kind of would like to see if I can get it down any cooler. This fall I'm probably going to take the hot side off of this, and I'm going to wrap it just to get it that much better. I wish I'd have done it when I put the turbo kit in, but I didn't. So I went ahead and ordered a radiator. Now what I've got coming is a Northern, it's a triple pass. So you've got single pass, which is what this is, and what that means is that coolant will go in the inlet, flows through the tube, and then out the outlet, okay? And it just keeps circulating back up in through the water pump, back through the thermostat. On a dual pass, it'll go in to the other side tank, through the tube to the other side tank, and then it's actually looped, so it'll flow back through and then dump out, okay? And that just, the dual pass, single pass, triple pass just means how many times it passes through the radiator. So I was thinking about doing the dual pass. Originally that was going to be my plan. I thought it'd be plenty, but the problem with the dual pass is it puts both of your inlet and outlet on the one side. So if you have a Foxbody, you know that it's not like that factory, and you could do it. I mean, there's guys that do it with mostly you see it with LS guys. They'll have both on they'll be running that dual pass and have both on the same side. But I didn't want to get real crazy with my hoses. I mean, I'm gonna have to anyway. But as far as like running the one all the way over to the other side of the car, I kind of want to stay away from that. So I found a triple pass that Northern Radiator makes. Now the only problem with that is your upper hose with that radiator, it goes up to 1.5 inches. Factory Fox is 1.25 inches, and your lower hose goes from 1.5 inches up to 1 3/4 inches. So I kind of looked, we're going to see how it works out. I kind of looked at specs of hoses, and I think that I'm going to be able to either just use SN95 hoses, because it looks like SN95 is the right size on the radiator side, or at worst case scenario, I'm going to have to make an adapter, and I'm going to use the Fox side and the SN radiator side. So where it comes out of the water pump, it'll be the Foxbody. Where it goes into the radiator at the outlet, it'll be SN95. So worst case scenario, I think I might have to do that. Now the other thing is this radiator's 31 inches, I think it is, wide. So I think a Foxbody is like 29 inches, so it's going to be about 1.5 inches. Shouldn't really make a huge bit of difference, you know. I think I ought to be able to make that work no problem, but we're going to find out. So we're going to I'll put all the links to the radiator I got and the hoses I got in the description. Probably though, on the thermostat with those triple pass radiators, they recommend you not running any restrictor. So I'm probably originally going to just go ahead and take the stat out altogether, or put the largest restrict. I got a couple assortment packs around here somewhere of the washer restrictors. I've talked to a couple buddies of mine that have done this, and they ran the large washer restrictor and it was all right. But I think I'm going to, in the beginning, I'm going to just try it without any thermostat. And you read a bunch on the internet, you know, people saying it's like an old school thought of without any thermostat in there, the water doesn't stay in your radiator long enough to cool. Well, with a triple pass radiator, obviously that kind of completely eliminates that theory, because it's going through once, twice, and 3 times. So the water's in the radiator straight up 3 times longer than a regular radiator. So and if you read a lot of the cooling places like Evans Cooling, which is big into coolant and different ways to cool engines, they have a big write-up on their website that pretty much debunks that and says that that's not a thing. If you leave the water in the radiator, if you're moving the water through the radiator fast, well, you're also moving the water through the pump or the engine fast. So people that say it's not in the radiator long enough to get cool, okay, well, they say, well, okay, then, well, it's not in the engine long enough to get hot. Kind of a cool thing to read. Which Evans Cooling, it's a pretty cool company, how that guy got his start and stuff, and kind of the big thing with him and General Motors, if you're ever on the internet and you want to read a cool story of industrial espionage, I guess that's a cool one. Check that out sometime. So what we're going to do is I got to take this upper support off, just 2 screws. This car does have contour fans. I used the factory style contour connector, so it'll just unplug. I've got it zip tied up to the shroud a little bit. So we're going to cut that loose. The grommets on this swap is the only thing I'm not real sure what I'm going to run into, so that might delay me a little bit into getting this back together if it doesn't fall into the factory grommets correctly, which I'm guessing it's not going to, but I don't know how hard that's going to be to fix. So pretty much that's it. I mean, it ought to be a pretty as far as, you know, I don't think I'm gonna film taking this radiator out. I'll take some pictures and we'll go over some stuff and how I'm gonna reattach my fans back to the new radiator when we go to do that. But it's pretty straightforward taking a radiator out of one of these cars. You won't find an easier radiator to do, in my opinion. So all right, well, let's go ahead and get to the the fun part, and that's actually taking it apart.
All right, well, there it is. It's out. This is the radiator setup that was in there. I said just a, set of contour fans and a pretty stockish radiator. Intercooler. There's the wires, So hopefully it fits. Find out. Well, there it is. It's the old radiator out. And here's the new one. Thickness wise, it's pretty close, but they're both 2-core. The new northern radiator, I think it's got bigger tubes than this. This seems that way. I don't think the old Ford one's got as big of a tube that goes through it. But get it in, and first I'm gonna we'll set it in, see how close the mounts are, and after I figure all that out, I'm going to get the fans mounted up to it. Got some weather strip tape that I'm going to use to seal the shroud off to the radiator. So let's get to work. All right. I just have it sitting down in there, and it lines up pretty decent. I don't think I'm gonna really mess with the bushings any, because it's sitting on those. I tried the hood, and if I want to keep that radiator hold down, which I'm planning on, I'm gonna have to make some standoffs, obviously, because the core on this, that's a little bit higher than the factory Foxbody. But the hood still shuts, so probably what I'm going to end up doing, because it's going to also interfere with the prop rod, I'm going to go with those gas struts, which I've been wanting to do anyway. So probably end up taking the prop rod off and just kind of using it for now, just hooking it back in if I want to use it, or use something else for a prop. But I'm going to have to do away with that. Unless I'm not seeing something right, but it looks like it's not going to work. So as far as the upper hose, it looks like I'm probably going to be able to do like I want. We'll see how it works. That angle isn't terrible. And then down here on the lower hose, just have to figure out which side of that I'm going to put my power steering line hose on. Just want to try to keep that out of the turbo hot side. So, but it's doing an angle right there, and that might end up helping me. So hopefully that actually works out in my advantage, the way that angle is. But we'll see if those hoses I got work out. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get the thermostat housing cleaned up, and see if I can get that together again, and I'll bring you guys back after I get it all bolted in. All right, guys. I've just got it sitting in there still, but I wanted to see if the radiator hoses were going to work out. And so pretty much it looks like you can use an SN95 lower hose. You just have to have it, the twists in it just have to be about perfect, because it wants to put a couple bends kinda in it if you don't have it fitting on there just right. But other than that, it seems like it's going to fit really good. I might have to shorten it a little, but I doubt it. I think it's going to work all right. Let me show you that. So I think this is how I'm going to run it. It's kind of hard to see in there, but it just goes right down into there. It's a water pump, And that right there is the only thing that I'm kind of concerned with. But I think that once I put a little twist in it, and it's really not even that bad. Once I get it in there, final, and I twist it around a little, I think that's going to fit like perfectly. And then I tried the upper hose, and the problem with the upper hose fitting in there, it was hard against my compressor housing, and it was just wanting to kick a little bit, and then it was coming really close to the turnbuckle for my turbo, or for my alternator. So what I ended up doing, that's the Foxbody hose end, still on the Vortex supercharger metal radiator pipe. So I just cut the end off of the SN95 upper hose, which is the bigger size. Remember, this is bigger than Foxbody, and the lower over there is bigger than Foxbody. So I just cut that, and it fits pretty good. I can't complain about that. I'll take it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pop the hoses back off, and I'm going to fit the contour fans up to it and put it back in, and then we'll be ready to fill it with water. All right, I'll bring you back in a minute. All right, so got the radiator laying out here. I got the contour fans pretty much where I think they need to set. And what I did was just take some green painter's tape and kind of lay the outline of it just to get it pretty close. I'm going to use that camper tape, like camper top sealing weather stripping, to just to kind of give it something to not only seal it, but so the fans aren't actually rubbing up against the radiator core. I'm not going to buy those bracket, like LMR sells a bracket kit if you want to go through all that. I'm not sure how they would work on an aftermarket radiator. I don't know if they line up real well. They may, but I'm not going to spend the money on those. I use the zip tie type way, which a lot of people don't, they frown on that, but I've done it for years, never had a problem. And more than likely this radiator is probably only going to be in here for not long till I change setups again. And I don't know if I'll continue to be using this, or if I'm going to have to swap to a different style, or a different style fan. So I'm going to take these fans off there, seal that up, zip tie it up there, and we'll bring you back after the radiator's in the car. Alright guys, well, this is what it looks like. Just want to show you kind of what I was talking about. Said, there's other ways you can do this. If you want to spend the money, buy the bracket kit, but I would still try to seal it up a little bit or make sure nothing's going to rub. But I just got to put the ties in, and then we'll put the radiator back in there. But you can kind of see what I was talking about. Just something there so the radiator isn't going to rub. Not that I think you'd really have much issue, or it's going to help out a lot. But I just thought, I'm in there for $10. I'll spend the money on the weather stripping, and maybe I'll get a little more flow through the radiator. Anything helps down here. So it gets really hot in the summer, especially in traffic. So, like I said, I'm gonna get this tied back on, set back in the car, and we'll see if I can get the hoses hooked up. Probably running out of time for today, so I might have to finish filling it up with water maybe tomorrow, but we'll see. All right, catch you later. All right, guys, well, it's in there. I need to go get longer screws and make a bushing for that. It's just like really in there, like 2 threads. I just did that so if I need to, I can pull it out of the garage. Really happy with how it fit. So if you're going to do this, you can probably get away with just using the supercharger. Well, if you've got an on-3 turbo, that's going to change this. This is a pony down kit. So with the on-3 turbo kit, your turbo's over here farther. It's going to be a little tighter, maybe, I think, and also might be setting back farther, so it may work. you're probably going to be in front of your air filter. I don't know how well you like that, but I would get SN95 hoses. That's what I did. That's what this is. This is a Fox part of the hose, but I think you're still going to be able to make the SN half work. If you have the Fox half, I would use that. As far as your lower hose, it was just like I thought. I just tweaked that hose a little, spun it, and shoved it all the way up on the water pump down there, and it fit great. So SN95 lower hose, because that's 1 3/4, and an SN95 upper hose, because that's 1 1/2. On a Foxbody, it's 1 1/4 and 1 1/2 on the lower. So the sizes go up 1/4 inch. That's why you got to go with the SN hose. But yeah, see, I still got a mount in the room. It pretty much sets like right where the Foxbody radiator sat. It's a little wider. It's like an 1.5 inches wider and like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch taller. But hood still shuts. Seems like it'll work out really good. So if you're looking for a bigger radiator, like I said, I'll put the links to the radiator and the hoses I used. I'll put those down in the description so you can find them. But I'm going to leave it off here. I got to fill it with water, and I got some VP cool down I'm going to add to it, but I'm out of time for today, so I'll bring you back when I go to fill it up.